Welcome everybody to another Indie Dev Showcase video here on the channel. Every week, we show off the indie games that we play on our weekly Wednesday night showcase streams. And if you'd like to submit a game for a future video and stream, please let me know. But we are beginning with I guess it's a game. This is Bryce's Movement Engine 1. And I believe we can all agree that the production values on this game are just slightly better than what we do here on the Game Wisdom channel. But this is a game it's free to play, and it was basically designed to be an homage to late 80s, early 90s shovelware kind of games. It also features music that I think I should just include in all my videos from now on, as my character is dancing right there. But while this lovely arrangement is going on, as I said, this is essentially just, again, like very old school 2D platform. There are a lot of nods and riffs to shovelware 90s games. And the idea is that you're going to be exploring these levels, I think it was one-hit kills. And you're trying to, I don't know why a walking piano is trying to kill you, but you're trying to find all the keys, pick up various items, and just get through the level without dying. If you take a hit, you'll go back to a checkpoint, and there are boss fights that look very suspiciously like other games. But again, this is one of those titles that, from watching this footage, you are either going to go and buy this game right now or play it, or never look at it ever again. But with that, we turn to Death Crown. This is a minimalistic RTS that has some very beautiful, I guess very disturbing 2D art, as you can see here. And the concept is that we play as Death, who is out for revenge against the human king here for trapping her in, I guess, the underworld or hell, or however we want to describe it. And the game itself plays over a series of RTS battles. Each round, or each match, you go up against the humans, who in this case are on the upper left-hand corner of the screen, and your mission is to conquer territory, set up attack lines, and build structures that will send out infantry or other units to try and deal with the enemy. The black crystals on the map will provide basically a unit upgrade for free as long as you keep something near them. And this is, again, a very passive experience for its RTS style. And it's kind of interesting to watch AI play it as well. The art definitely, again, stands out. It reminds you a little bit of something like Super Jail, for those of you who know the Adult Swim show. And your mission, of course, again, just every time you get a unit to the enemy base, he takes a bit of heart damage, that you see in the top left. When they run out of hearts, you win the match. So you're in that constant state of having to build out while still providing upgrades and getting more powerful stuff on the field. With that said, Death's Crown does have a bit of a problem, or a little bit of some balance that makes it frustrating. Or, I'm sorry, Death Crown. And this is very much an RTS built on tempo. Because units are sent out on a fixed timer, and you have no control other than just setting where they're going to run over to. It's a case of whoever gets out first will oftentimes win. Because if you're leading the enemy, it means you have more units on the field, which means you can set up more towers for upgrades, which means you get stronger units on the field, who can then just bum rush the enemy and make things a lot easier. And it kind of is very, like, I think, mobile-centric in that regard, that it's just about speed and play rather than, being able to come from behind and get a win like that. But I still have to give developers credit for a very striking art style and aesthetic, and this will be one of those games I'm curious what people think that they played it further than I did. And with that, we turn to Candy Raid The Factory. This is a game that was submitted by a developer, actually, when we were doing the stream that night. And this is a micro game, kind of focused on, like, action-adventure. Our mission is to, raid this factory for all the candy. And at our disposal are 3 distinct powers of wind, ice, and fire that you see in the upper right. Now, in order to move through each one of the game's 3 areas, you need to collect, well, the candy, of course. But what's interesting about this one is that the candy itself, there's going to be more candy on the field than what's required. And there are kind of like different endings, or kind of the game will rate you based on how much of the candy you collect. And again, this is about like a 45 to 50 minute long game. And we played this, and we definitely were getting into this one. The puzzles are all uniquely designed. Each area has its own unique feel to it. Again, this is going to be on the shorter end of the scale, and no matter how much you search for, this is not going to be like a 5 to 10 hour long experience. And the game does a good job of keeping the puzzle variety going. Again, with the shortened playtime, means that each puzzle gets to be its own unique beast, and nothing really repeats in terms of solutions or design. And yeah, just a very solid game that I think does what it sets out to do within its span of time. But with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we got a few more games to look at for this video. And now for a quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors. Going forward, all Patreon supporters will get early access to our videos. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. If you're looking for more wisdom about game design, be sure to check out my latest offering of books, 20 Essential Games to Study, aimed for first-time developers and students looking for some inspiration for their upcoming games, and Game Design Deep Dive Platformers if you're interested in anything regarding 2D and 3D platforming design. They're both available in print, digital, and wherever books are being sold. For our next game, we turn to Master Spy. And this is one that was actually part of the itch.io when they gave 10 million indie projects for their bundle a few months ago. But this is a stealth puzzle platformer where each screen requires you to get access to a secret room or get access to the door there and get through it without being caught, killed, attacked. You get the picture. In terms of our tools, our main abilities that we have essentially an invisibility code, and as long as we activate it, enemies cannot see us. But that doesn't stop lasers or dogs who can kind of sniff us out from attacking. And when you use it, it also completely slows down your momentum. So the challenge of the game is just figuring out how do I get to the item in question and get to that door without being caught. And this was also, I think, featured at one of the GDQ events. And playing this game at that level is certainly intense. Everything in this title moves in essentially a fixed pattern. So there really isn't RNG at play. It's just a matter of you figuring out the perfect line to and from each collectible point. And I was playing this on hard difficulty, which I think affects how fast things move, or maybe some of the layouts. I'm not 100% sure. But overall, this is just a very solid execution on this design. Now, the idea of a stealth-based game doesn't interest you, Master Spy is not going to change your mind in that aspect. But I really did enjoy this one. It also features some very stylish, NES-era cutscenes as well. But with that, we turn to 7 Doors. This is a game submitted by the developer, and what we have here is a 3D adventure title, where the concept is that we have 7 doors, aka 7 puzzles that we have to solve. Each room has its own unique solution or own unique elements you have to deal with. The first room involved you using a gun to kind of shoot specific targets. Here we're playing basically a game of riddles to find the items that they want. And while the game does have a nice look to it, and of course all those realistic physics of picking and throwing stuff up, it's a game that I think suffers from that kind of issue we see developers have, where there is more of a focus on outside knowledge or outside rules, rather than the game doing a good job of explaining it itself. In the second room that I just passed, the 3 riddles are actual like real life or real world riddles you have to solve that if you've never heard of them before, it's just kind of frustrating to deal with. And with the rules kind of changing into each room, it does mean that what you do in one room really has no impact or any real like feel to the game itself. So in this room that we're entering now, this is where we kind of just lost interest in this game. And the idea is that if you cross the gaze of any of these statues, it's going to kill you. And what's worse is that when we were doing this, there were cases where I was passing the gaze and it didn't do anything to me at all. Other times it kills you, and every time it kills you, you have to wait through this like few seconds of a cutscene and then go back to the start. And the issue is that it just felt like this is a padding out situation. It's not really a puzzle, it's just you kind of going through the motions. And I am not sure how many people are going to sit through a game like this. And it's also very weird to have death states in an adventure game today. And again, I like the concept, but I just found that the puzzles themselves were just not interesting enough or motivating enough for me to just want to keep figuring them out. And with that, we'll turn to one more game for this video, and that is Eternal Hope. This is a story-driven puzzle platformer, where our protagonist here is essentially helping, I guess, the spirit of death or death incarnate in order to get the soul of his beloved back. And to do that, he is going to have to survive a lot of nasty pits, traps, and of course die multiple times. Our key mechanic here is kind of like the dimension shift or phase shift that we saw from games such as like Guacamelee, and I'm sure there are a few other ones that are out there that I can't remember off the top of my head. But when we put on the mask there and the timer appears in the upper left, we're able to interact or have things interact with us from the spirit world. And the idea is that you're going to have to make use of both states in order to solve the varying puzzles. Now the footage you're seeing here is from when we played the demo of it, but we did play this again on stream with the full 1.0 build. And the situation that you're seeing here is consistent. Now, the main issue with this game is that the platforming doesn't really feel well in your hands. This is one of those games where, you know, any fall from like almost like a smallish height will get you killed. Swinging from ropes, pushing blocks, or trying to maneuver some of the jumping feels a lot harder than it needs to be. There were several cases where we were making jumps that were almost like pixel or hitbox precise, and that seemed to not be kind of how this game should be played. Again, the point about puzzle platforming is that the puzzles should be kind of first and foremost. But in a lot of cases, you have to be good at platforming in order to solve these situations. And if you die, the checkpoint system kind of can put you far back, and you have to repeatedly watch cutscenes as well. When we play this further at the retail version, we did see some decent variety in terms of basically they were kind of like a pseudo boss fight, an auto scroll section, and that stuff does help to break up the monotony. But at the same time, the game didn't really seem to go anywhere in terms of its mechanics. It didn't want to like introduce new elements or systems such as in Oddworld, you know, Abe's Odyssey, and it just kind of, I guess the only word I could think of is like meandered along. If you are a fan of, you know, puzzle platforming and want all kinds of it, then Eternal Hope can work for you. But I would not put this as one of the better examples of this kind of design, unfortunately. With that said, we're going to wrap up this indie showcase here. I'd like to thank the games that were shown. You'll find links to them in the description down below. And once again, if you'd like to submit a game for a future stream, please get in touch. Check out our Discord and Patreon link down below as well. Come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where is in the art and science of games. Until next time, take care. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.